Welcome to Homework Hotline, the show that answers your homework questions. And now here is this week's guest teacher.
Welcome to Homework Hotline. I'm Justin Gores from Holmes Junior High, and with me today is our guest, Paul Collar from the National Weather Service. Paul is here today to discuss severe weather. This is the season when we become aware of thunderstorms and the potential for tornadoes like those you are seeing on your screen. Paul will tell us today about the National Weather Service and its role in alerting us to severe weather. We'll learn about storms and procedures to follow during a storm. We would like to start today by sharing with you a video called Storm Watch. This video is used to train tornado spotters in this area. It will also help us understand what goes on at the National Weather Service.
That was easy. Hi, I'm a meteorologist with the National Weather Service. I'm sure many of you have had questions about what goes on at National Weather Service offices during a time of severe weather. Hopefully this program will give you some answers to those questions that you might have. So let's get started. Although most severe weather outbreaks occur in the late afternoon and early evening hours, preparation begins early in the day as forecasters organize the latest data and discuss the possibility of severe weather.
Is riding up over this area, and it looks like it could potentially produce some severe storms today. As you can look at the moisture streaming north out of the Gulf, we've got some problems. We've got a vortex down here that's going to be moving rapidly north on that jet stream, so we could have some problems later this afternoon.
What's the latest word from the National Severe Storms Forecast Center?
SAILS has us in a moderate to severe area, as detailed by the map here, definitely covering much of the state of Iowa. We're going to have, for this afternoon and tonight, definitely thunderstorms for our area. We have lots of dew points that have been showing that moisture being pumped into our area from the dew points, as indicating here on the map. So
Where's it running, in the 60s?
60s and some even 70s, so like I said, there's lots of moisture there.
Gentlemen, this is a volatile situation, so we're going to really have to keep our eye on it as the day progresses. This thing could really explode.
Because severe weather most often occurs in the late afternoon and early evening hours, forecasters must often play a waiting game. There's somewhat of a calm before the storm. So in the meantime, it's business as usual, which includes several station duties. These duties include surface observations. They are taken hourly and as the weather situation warrants.
62, wind southwest, 9.
Weather radar is checked frequently for any precipitation that may be occurring in the area. A local forecast is issued 4 times a day. Guidance for this is sent by the state's main forecast office. Area weather updates are written every 3 hours between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. and are updated hourly with precipitation in the area.
At 11 a.m., it was partly sunny in the Waterloo-Cedar Falls area. Our temperature.
Another important function is the broadcast of NOAA weather radio. Tapes of a regional weather summary, local forecast, hourly weather, and the weather update are played continuously 24 hours a day. This broadcast will also include any special weather statements, watches, or warnings that are in effect. Shortly after 2 p.m., forecasters on this day note that it is becoming increasingly more humid and that the clouds are bubbling higher into the sky. Conditions appear to be changing rapidly and for the worse. At around 2:20, the National Severe Storms Forecast Center issues a tornado watch for all of eastern Iowa to be in effect until 8 p.m.
Tornado watch, we better get on it. Merlin, you put this on the weather radio. Tim, you plot it up.
The watch box is plotted with a grease pencil on a special chart of the area and surrounding states. The watch is broadcast on NOAA weather radio. For those who have a special built-in alarm feature, a special tone will automatically be activated.
This is the National Weather Service in Waterloo, Iowa. The National Severe Forecast Center has issued a tornado watch for most of Iowa, effective until 8 p.m. this evening.
Meanwhile, at the state's main forecast office, all warning points and disaster preparedness centers are alerted on the National Warning System phone.
Possibility of very damaging tornadoes, also large hail, dangerous lightning, and severe thunderstorms and winds.
For the next hour or so, it remains quiet. However, shortly after 3 p.m., some thunderstorms start developing along the Iowa-Minnesota border. Radar surveillance is now a non-stop operation.
Ralph?
Yeah, what's up, Merlin? We got a cell here north of the Minnesota border, just north of Worth County. This cell has increased quite rapidly here in the last 15-20 minutes. Moved to southeast about 35 miles an hour. So I'm going to notify Worth County. I think we should be watching this quite closely here.
Okay, I'll set up everything outside in case we have to go with the warning.
Okay. Worth County? Worth County, this is the National Weather Service in Waterloo. We've had a cell that's developed quite rapidly here in the last 15 or 20 minutes or so. Still up in Minnesota, just across the border, is moving towards the Worth County.
Within 10 minutes, that storm being closely monitored becomes severe.
Let's go with a severe thunderstorm warning for Worth County. That cell is increased. Let's go for a half hour on it.
Okay, you sure that'll be long enough?
Yeah, I think so. It's moving to southeast about 35 miles an hour, so it should cover it.
Okay.
Within minutes, the warning is processed and sent out through a high-speed communication system. The warning is disseminated much the same way as the original watch was. However, the local office is responsible for notification of all warning points and disaster preparedness centers within the warned area. Operations at the National Weather Service could not operate efficiently without the help of trained weather spotters. And shortly after 4 p.m. on this day, a phone call comes into the office with a critical report.
You have a tornado on the ground, 5 miles northwest of Rudd. What direction, did you have a direction of movement on that storm, sir? To the southeast. Okay, and it's still on the ground. Okay, we'll get right on it. We're going to issue a warning. You get a hard copy in a minute, so you can fan that out. Hey, Merlin, Tim? The sheriff has got a tornado on the ground 5 miles north of Rudd, and it's moving southeast. So I'll put the process in motion by typing up the warning. You get the warning on NAWAS. Tim, you get it on the weather radio. And then when I get the warning typed up, I'll EBS it. Okay?
Okay.
Once again, the alarm is sounded on NOAA Weather Radio before the warning is read.
The National Weather Service in Waterloo has issued a tornado warning effective until 4:45 p.m. for people in the following locations: in north central Iowa, northwestern Floyd County.
For people
The warning point and local disaster preparedness center is notified for the warned county.
at 4:10, a spotter reported a tornado on the ground 5 miles northwest of Rudd. This is 20 miles east of Mason City. The tornado was moving to the southeast at 20 miles an hour. People in the town of Rudd and Floyd should take immediate action to ensure personal safety.
Now, once the storms move out of the area, the work continues. During the course of severe weather, a log is kept of all storm and damage reports that comes into the weather office from law agencies and the civil defense. After the outbreak, the National Weather Service will coordinate with the counties to obtain any additional significant storm reports or damage. The importance of the trained weather spotter to our success can't be emphasized enough. Even with the advent of Doppler radar, the need for the trained eye will never cease. We certainly hope this program has been informative and interesting in presenting Weather Service operations during a time of severe weather.
Paul, the video really gives our viewers an understanding of your job during severe weather. I think that it's important to know about the formation of thunderstorms so we know what signs to watch for. Please share some information with us on the ingredients of a thunderstorm.
Well, Justin, there are a number of ingredients that you need for severe thunderstorms and the formation of thunderstorms themselves, one of them being moisture. And our source of moisture is the Gulf of Mexico. The warm, moist air will be pumped up into the Midwest when you have a low pressure system that develops basically northwest of Iowa. And cool, dry air behind the front sets the battlefront, if you will, for showers and thunderstorms to develop. But the final component, the more important one for tornadic development, is a jet stream, which helps to lift the air high into the atmosphere. When you have all these three things going in your favor, you have the potential for a fairly significant outbreak of severe weather.
I see. So the warm, moist air then meets the dry air, and this causes turbulence in the atmosphere.
And this basically gets the thunderstorm process going. But now, when we talk about the formation of tornadoes and thunderstorms themselves, all these ingredients come together, what kicks them off? Okay, well, I got out the old ruler and pencil here to help demonstrate this. And if you can picture winds at, about 5,000 feet going along, and then winds maybe at about 15,000 feet going along in the same direction but at a higher speed, and then you put like a paddle wheel, or in this case the ruler, you get this rotation. Okay, the faster winds will cause this to spin like this. And if now we can picture it in the atmosphere, we have these a large area. Okay, so picture this stretching out for miles. Okay, and we have a graphic here that demonstrates this. Picture this area of vorticity stretching out for miles, and as cumulus clouds develop in this area, they will exert a force on this tube of spin, causing it to rise and take on the shape of the growing thunderstorm. As the storm grows larger, it will begin to rotate due to the spin in the atmosphere. And that is the initial step to forming a tornado. But that just is the beginning process of getting the storm in itself to rotate.
So this rotation isn't actually the tornado itself.
It's not the tornado itself, but it's the beginning. It's the beginning. And one of the things that helps to get that tornado going is strong updrafts or winds rising high into the storm. And then what will happen then is that will help to stretch out this column of air vertically, and as a result, you get a kind of like when a figure skater pulls her arms in, or his or her arms in, and she spins. She can spin faster, and that's what that will do then when you have that updraft. It pulls that up.
What are some of the things we can expect in the thunderstorm season? For instance, can we predict the frequency of hail or tornadoes, etc.?
Well, we use radar, okay, to look at thunderstorms when there are thunderstorms in the area. The long-range prediction for thunderstorms is not all that great, but we look at it more on a day-to-day basis, especially when it comes to severe thunderstorms. And then when thunderstorms develop, we have radars that look at the storms and determine if they're severe or not. And then, of course, we have our spotters, which we can't forget to mention because they are very important in the overall process, because radars are by no means perfect. And I think we should go to this other graphic that shows now how the tornado forms. We have this mesocyclone, as it's called, or the storm rotating. And the basic thing that you have going here is the storm is rotating. These strong updrafts are causing this tube to spin vertically. And then when you have warm, moist air coming in from the south, okay, from the south of the storm, because that's where the moisture supply is, and you've got cold, dry air coming down from the storm, you get this area of spin that develops just to the below the cloud base, I should say. And this area of spin then joins up with the original spin in the thunderstorm. And this will all culminate then in a wall cloud. And this is a lowering of the cloud base in the southwest part of the storm, and we refer to this then as our mesocyclone. So it's in the southwest part of the storm that you want to look for a possible tornado. So basically what you have, I'm going to set my ruler and pencil down here. Basically what you want to look for, you get this initial gust of rain, wind, and then it's the bad part of the storm. Okay, so when the storm comes in, you know, it looks real dark and ominous, but that's just the beginning. And sometimes people get confused when they see it getting real dark as the storm comes in. You got to wait really till after the rain and hail.
I see. I know that you want to share some safety tips with our audience today. It's really important to be prepared during severe weather because the weather can develop so quickly and be so destructive.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing that people should realize is that when there is a tornado or severe thunderstorm watch issued, they should be alert. Okay. And a tornado watch generally will be about 140 by 200 miles in dimensions. And there's a good sample there of a tornado watch that would cover eastern Iowa and the Waterloo-Cedar Falls area. Now, this is a time when we really have to just kind of be alert, okay? You can go about doing your normal daily routine or whatever that you have to do, but keep an eye to the sky, keep tuned to NOAA weather radio. We have WXL 94, which serves northeast Iowa. Keep tuned to that, and if there is any warnings or anything that are issued, we will break in with a special tone to alert you of that. However, once these storms develop and a warning is issued, rather than for a large area, we would issue then for a small county a tornado warning. And that generally would be for 30 minutes to an hour for a warning. I forgot to mention that the watches generally will be anywhere between 4 and 8 hours. So conceivably, when that watch is issued, you may have clear skies. And people are like, what? There's a tornado watch in effect? Well, that means that it's time to just really be prepared because things may explode at any moment. So you really can't take a sunny sky lightly when there is a tornado or severe thunderstorm watch. The seasons, for thunderstorms and tornadoes, generally in Iowa, it can happen any time of the year. Thunderstorms, we can have them in winter, we can have them in summer. And of course, that's the main time that we have them. But the greatest frequency is like between May and June. But the basic season runs from like March through September. And we do have a graphic that can show you basically the entire country and how thunderstorms vary from place to place around the country. If we can take a look at that. We'll take a look at it in a little while, I guess. There we go. Okay, so on the frequency. Here, what we got here is you can see just about, the whole eastern half of the country basically is susceptible to this. There is a maximum in the Florida Peninsula area, and in the southeast states, you'll find a maximum. Again, that's close to that source of moisture, so that's where you're bound to find your greatest frequency of thunderstorms. And as you get out towards California, they don't see as many thunderstorms, but they get more of the rain than anything else out there. So that's the frequency.
What exactly does a tornado spotter do, Paul?
Well, what a tornado spotter does is, first of all, he becomes trained. Okay, once the person is trained, he will go out to the when there is a watch in effect. He'll be dispatched to certain areas where the storm is likely to be, and that information is given to them. And then they look for things that may hint at severe weather. Basically, the things that we ask them to look for are heavy rains, flooding. We want to know about flooding, hail, generally of any size, although it doesn't become severe until it's 3/4 of an inch, and winds in excess of 55 miles an hour. Are the things that we ask the spotter to kind of keep an eye on.
What exactly is a flash flood, and when does it happen, and how can you protect yourself from
Well,
it
I'm glad you bring this up now, Justin, because we are in a situation right now where we've had a lot of rain, and we have the potential for more rains now over the next couple of days, and the ground is already very saturated. The rivers have receded, but at the same time, rains would aggravate that situation. So flash flooding is a very serious hazard, extremely serious, and people have to be alert for that, especially those who live near rivers. And when there is heavy rains, be prepared to move to higher ground as that situation develops.
So, what if you're caught outside and a storm hits? Or for instance,
well, now in the case of a tornado, the worst place you want to be is in a mobile home. Okay, you want to get out of a mobile home and go to the nearest reinforced structure, if there is one. If not, get into a ditch or ravine and cover your head. If you're in a car, get out. Get out of a car. You don't want to be in a car. You want to get out of the car and get into a ditch or a ravine. You definitely don't want to be in anything like a car or a mobile home. If you're in the house, if you have a basement, get under a solid object. It doesn't matter the southwest corner of the basement. Don't worry about that. Get under something sturdy. And that's the best thing you can do. If you don't have a basement, get into an interior an interior room, a closet, something that you can put as many walls between you and the outside of the house as possible. That would ensure your safety.
It seems, at least to me, that over the past 10 or so years, well, it seems like 10 years ago there used to be more severe weather, and it seems like it's calming down, I guess, a little, and we have less watches and warnings less often. Is this true? And to what degree is it?
Well, there's no scientific trend that we can really point to that says this is decreasing. Last year, as you know, we had the most tornadoes that we've ever had in Iowa. And there is really no set trend in this that we've seen. It varies from year to year. We can have very bad years and we can have very good years. Hopefully, this will be a bad year and we won't have a lot of tornadoes and severe thunderstorms because they're terrible.
Back to what you said about the watches and warnings. What constitutes a tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch as opposed to a warning?
Okay. Well, basically, the National Severe Storms Forecast Center in Kansas City will issue the watches, okay? And we will issue the warnings, we being the Weather Service offices, will issue the warnings. But they have a lot of technology in Kansas City there to look for areas that are potentially going to be a problem in hours to come. And they will then issue the watches. And then that's when we take over, and as storms develop and possibly become severe, that is when we will issue the warnings.
So then the spotting of the storms takes place, or the beginning of notification of the public in severe weather takes place, or starts in Kansas City and spreads outward from there.
Exactly. Yeah, it starts in Kansas City. We get the watch. We will tone it out on WXL 94 weather radio. And then at that point, it will get fanned out through the entire state. And from then on, it's a kind of a waiting game after that watch is issued for things to develop.
I see. Do you have any graphics you can show us on the frequency of hail and tornadoes?
I do, in fact, Justin. And the hail frequency is maybe a little bit surprising that it's not in the areas where the most thunderstorms occurred. The greatest frequency of hail is in the Rockies and along the eastern slopes of the Rockies, as well as in the southern plains. Tornadoes, on the other hand, you can see their greatest concentration is in what we call Tornado Alley, which stretches from Texas through Oklahoma, Kansas, parts of Missouri, and right up into southern Iowa. And that is what we call Tornado Alley. And it's kind of interesting to note, though, too, as you head to the northeast part of the country and out to the west, there really isn't that much tornado occurrence, but it's all of these key ingredients that I talked about earlier, that warm, moist air, the jet stream, the cold front, all of these things come together right in the central part of the country, and we really experience, more thunderstorms here in the Midwest than just about anywhere on the world.
So then, if there is severe weather, and you see the low clouds or the funnel clouds or whatever, is that reason to be very worried about a tornado touching down near you or going over
yes,
you?
it is. At that point, personally, I've never seen a funnel cloud or anything that really looks suspicious. But I'm sure that if I did, my immediate reaction would be to find shelter. Just
So then most of
even
what,
though the weather side of me would say I'd want to stay out and watch it because I hadn't seen anything, but really from a safety standpoint, if you do see something that even at all looks suspicious, best advice is to head for the shelter.
But then, so most of what people see coming down from the clouds on the horizon in a storm aren't really tornadoes or have a good potential for becoming tornadoes?
Well, I think it's a good idea, and if I were to reinforce, other than the safety measures that I talked about as to where you can go, is trying to remember the sequence of events. Okay, I think it's important that once, if you look out to the west, because most of this stuff will be coming in from the west, you see things getting dark. Okay, and as the storm approaches, you get the winds. Okay, and then the rain. Okay, and you get that cloud. There's sometimes a real low cloud that might be churning at the beginning of the storm. That really isn't where you're going to find your tornadoes. Okay, but be alert because those winds can cause damage. The initial winds. But after the rain, the thing to look for then is hail, because if you get hail, then in that case the tornado would most likely follow then after the hail.
I guess that's all we have time for today. I'm sure all of us loved your interesting information. I'd like to thank you for being a guest on our show. I'm sure that we all learned some things to do or watch for during severe weather that we hadn't heard before. I'm glad that we have people watching out for us like you at the National Weather Service. Next week, we will travel beyond the atmosphere into space with Aaron Spur. Mr. Spur is the director of the Grout Museum Planetarium and will share with us current discoveries in astronomy. Thanks for watching.